We continue into the third critical verse of chapter 8. We're going from 7 to 13.2. Anyone want to guess in the chat? What's our next verse? Tough chapter to guess on. Even tougher is the next chapter. Out of all of the chapters that I've had to summarize, the 9th chapter I found to be the hardest. In this chapter, it is verse 24. 24. Agnir Jyotir Aha Shuklaha Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Vido Janaha. Joy. This is a technical verse, so I'm just going to read the translation and then open up the reflections. Fire, light, daytime, the bright fortnight, the 6 months of the northern solstice. Following this path, humans who know Brahman go to Brahman. That's the translation. How many of you remember this verse or this train of thought when we flowed through this chapter? Okay, so thus far in our exploration of Bhagavad Gita, big picture, small picture, it doesn't matter what narrative, Shri Krishna is teaching Sadhya Mukti. Mukti, today I've been using the word enlightenment, another word is freedom, another word is contentment. Sadhya means instantaneous. Sadhya means not time-based. But in this chapter, Shri Krishna is offering teachings not on Sadhya Mukti, but Krama Mukti. Krama means steadily. Krama is time-based. Chapter 8 is unique in this teaching. Shri Krishna can sense from Prince Arjuna that he's trying, but there's always that fear in Prince Arjuna's mind that he may die. That came out in chapter 6. Now it's coming out again in chapter 8. So Shri Krishna is sharing here, for those who do not experience Sadhya Mukti or become free in this lifetime, eventually they will become free. But that time is very, very, very long. When we went through this chapter, I cautioned everyone, please do not feel this is an option. The time it takes for Krama Mukti is torture. This is just to appease Prince Arjuna and all of us who have less sincerity to become more sincere. Continuing with more reflections, in verse 24, what is described is the path of the sun. In verse 25 is the path of the moon. The path of the moon is the dependent path. The path of the sun is the independent path. Which one do you want to become? Dependent or independent? The moon depends on the light of the sun for any value. And that's why, reflecting on this more, the path of the moon is the path of valuables, and the path of the sun is the path of values. Valuables, values. Values are independent. They're not time-based, correct? In 2048, do you think discipline is going to become worthless? In 2048, this phone I'm using for Instagram is going to become worthless. Who knows? It may be 10G at that point. This infrastructure can't handle that. So now the final reflection or challenge here is, what are you following? We had a lovely workshop yesterday morning on finding one's purpose, part of the discussion was what's holding you back from following your purpose? And one seeker had shared, we know our priorities, but we don't prioritize them. And I had shared with her and everyone, I specifically used, in chemistry, you can know about chemistry, but still not follow it. But in a subjective science, if you don't follow it, you don't know it. So I looked at her and said, you don't know your priorities, which is why you don't prioritize them. If you knew this was a priority, it would be determined by you following this. Which path are you following? Sincerity, or are you following the path of, I don't want to use the word steadiness, but postponement? That's the good word. A good word, postponement. This is a challenge of having faith in Sanatana Dharma, that we have faith that there's rebirth. Why do it in this life? I can do it in the next lifetime. It's better to go in with, there is no other lifetime. Then enlightenment becomes important and urgent. Quadrant 1. From inspiration. The transition from chapter 7 to chapter 8. Chapter 7 is about internalization. Chapter 8 is about intensification. How does one internalize to go from a artha bhakta, one who remembers only to come out of pain, to a jnani, the one who remembers who they are? It is through intensification. Whenever I come across this word, I think of a statement that Sheila had made about her and I. She said, we are very different. And she paused there, yet compatible. Compatible, not compatible. Compatible. Because she shared, we're on the same path. We just have different intensities towards this path. She shared her intensity is to become more virtuous. She shared my intensity is to become joy. And I'm sharing this because Shri Krishna has affirmed the same. We are all bhaktas, but there is a lesser bhakta, a greater bhakta. Intensification. We took up verse 7. In verse 7, there's a plan to be followed sequentially. Respond, remember, renounce, return. We next flowed through verse 13, which teaches us about the importance of Om. Om is an audio reminder for us to remember. Remember, divinity is greater than us. Remember, divinity is within us. Then we moved on to verse 24. Respond, remember, renounce, return. How to remember? Om. How to remember? Follow the path of the sun. That is the path of values. In a recent class, the discussion subject was, how do you determine reality? How do you determine reality? And how do you know you're following your reality? My reflection with the seekers on this was, I determine reality by independence. The more independent a relationship is, the more real it is. The more independent a company is, the more real it is. And how I'm trying to follow this
is to be less concerned with names and forms. Names depend on forms. Forms depend on existence. So if I care less about my name, this will give me the bandwidth to care more about my existence, our existence. This chapter is about remembrance because as you think, so you become. If you don't remember the divine, you're never going to become the divine. Interspersed between these critical verses, some of the strong thoughts that are shared are on samsara. Shri Krishna shares in detail what samsara is. And put simply, it is the reality of change. If you depend on the changing, you will always feel insecure. He offers more of a framework, he shares. There is the manifest, there is the unmanifest, and then there is that which is beyond. The manifest is like our outer world. The unmanifest is like our inner world. But beyond the outer and inner is the center, known as Atma, or awareness. This is exactly why we learned about Om. Om goes from manifest to unmanifest to beyond. And another strong thought Shri Krishna shares, remembrance has the trajectory of returning. Once you've returned to who you are, to what you are, na nivartante. You will never leave. You will never fall. You will be joy forever. Even saying forever is time-based, but we understand time, so forever.